When I first heard the announcement of this Legend of Zelda movie, I was through the roof. But not just because it was a Legend of Zelda movie. This is something that was fairly expected. We know Nintendo has this aim to make more Nintendo movies, and the Mario Bros. Movie was so extremely successful that surely they would branch off to other things, and with Zelda doing so well between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, those games together collectively are almost more than the total sales of the rest of the Zelda series. The Zelda brand has grown significantly. So it's been clear that making a Zelda movie should happen sooner or later. But what I wasn't prepared for was for Nintendo to announce not only are they working on a Zelda movie, but that this Zelda movie would be a live action. This direction has me extremely excited. I'm not disappointed that it's not going to be animated, as a lot of people were hoping for. I'm actually even more excited because I think this gives us an idea of what to expect of this movie. And what I expect of this movie is something comparable to maybe The Witcher on Netflix, or the Harry Potter series, or even Lord of the Rings, my favorite movie series of all time. So while some people are concerned about this live action direction, to me, this is a very good thing. Why exactly? Well, we'll be talking more about that today. Welcome everyone, this is Andre's Restart, and today we are talking about the recently announced live-action Legend of Zelda movie. I'm extremely excited about this project, but I've seen a lot of people share a lot of concerns about this movie, and I really don't have any concerns about this movie. I think they're going to do an amazing job, and I'll be explaining why in this video. But before going forward, let me point out that we are aiming to reach 50,000 subscribers, so if you do enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit the notification bell, and enjoy the ride as we talk about Nintendo every day. So when I mention things like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, it's because they're going in this live action direction. Nintendo could have done something safe and gone animated. That's what I was kind of expecting because I was trying to temper my expectations. But by announcing a live action, to me that suggests that Nintendo feels confident in going this direction and that they're going to do it right. And I think what a lot of people are concerned about is that there's so much room to really screw it up. Video game to movie adaptations most of the time don't do well. And going live action, where some people may start to have the expectation that this could be something like Lord of the Rings, perhaps may make it seem like an even more daunting task, because the Lord of the Rings trilogy is one of the most universally acclaimed movie series there are. These are Oscar award-winning movies. So I'm sure many are thinking that that's just not a realistic expectation, and many are probably concerned that they're going to do something that's just not going to come out that well. But as I'm sure you can tell, I strongly disagree. And there's a few reasons why. Firstly, let's talk about the Mario Bros. Movie. The Mario Bros. Movie, the recent one, the new Super Mario Bros. Movie that came out this year, has been extremely successful. Earlier this year, it was announced that the Mario Bros. Movie surpassed Frozen as the second biggest animated film of all time. The movie has seen extreme success. It's far exceeded the expectations of many when it comes to reaching to a large audience. And myself personally, I very much enjoyed the movie. I actually think it was pretty much the ideal Mario movie, and I'm not sure they could have really done much better. It was pretty much perfection in terms of what could be reasonably expected of for the first Mario movie. Now, I'm sure some people may be hearing what I'm saying here and just kind of think what I'm saying is ridiculous because they look at the Metacritic or Rotten Tomatoes scores and they seem that this movie just isn't critically acclaimed. It's not good from that perspective. But this is one of those situations where I don't think the critics got it right. I think a lot of critics going in, a lot of which aren't fans of the Mario series, went into this assessing it as a standard movie. And by those metrics, yeah, maybe it does fall short. The Mario movie wasn't meant for critics. It wasn't meant to be an Oscar award-winning movie, which a lot of critics are looking to see if it has merit in that regard. The Mario movie is about fun and having a good time and celebrating Mario and Nintendo overall, and reaching a new young audience to fall in love with Mario and the overall universe. That's what the intent was. And that's exactly what happened. Nintendo wanted the Mario movie to be very successful, to reach a large audience, and from that perspective, they hit it out of the park. And as a Nintendo fan, there are so many references, there's so many good, fun elements there. I fell in love with the movie, and I'm going to rewatch it for years to come. It's like a roller coaster. It's concise and fun, and when it's done, you may want to do it again unless you find yourself dizzy. So the point I'm making here is that Nintendo did exactly what they wanted to do with the Mario movie. They didn't fall short, they didn't fail, they didn't make any blatant mistakes. It came out as intended. And what's interesting about this is I remember when the Mario movie was announced, there was a lot of concerns. When we found out that Nintendo was working with Illumination, people were thinking, well, Illumination doesn't make that many great movies. Are we sure that this is a good idea? When Nintendo announced the voice cast and Chris Pratt was going to be Mario, and when they heard his initial sound bits as Mario, people were concerned. But once the movie finally came out and people watched the movie, a lot of those concerns were laid to rest. Many people have grown to accept Chris Pratt as the voice of Mario, and it works totally fine. Most people have minimal issues with the voice acting in the movie, and most people who watched the movie greatly enjoyed it, despite the not so perfect track record from Illumination movies, even though they have definitely made some good ones. And now here we are again, having this conversation about another Nintendo movie that has just been recently announced, and there's a lot of questions and doubts about going in this live action direction as opposed to the animated direction for Mario, and working with Sony. And Avi Arad as the producer, and Wes Ball as the director, because they've worked on projects that haven't always come out well, but they've also worked on projects that have. Avi Arad has produced a lot of the Spider-Man movies, which have tons of crazy effects that work within a realistic looking setting, but we can still see amazing looking creatures. They've worked on Jurassic World, which has giant dinosaurs made in CGI, but they fit realistically in the world. So imagine a Zelda movie where Link is going to fight a giant boss, and it looks like a giant boss. It fits and it works so well, and it's an amazing looking fight. I think when it comes to looking at their track histories here, we shouldn't be looking at the ones that didn't do well, but the ones that did, and why Nintendo would pick them. There's clearly potential here, but some of you may see that potential and think, sure, there may be potential, but their track records are spotty, so there's a chance that this movie will come out and not do well. But I disagree with that point as well, because Nintendo is working closely with them on this project. This isn't like the original Super Mario Bros. Film from 1993. When that movie came out, while I did enjoy it as a kid, it was kind of fun, it wasn't really true to the source material in any way, shape, or form. It was a poor representation for what Mario was about. And as a result, because Nintendo trusted the studio too much without having too much of a hand on the process, they were very dissatisfied with the project and did not make any sort of Nintendo movie for decades. But now we are seeing Nintendo movies. They are in the works. But what's different now is that Nintendo is working closely with these projects. Miyamoto is working hand in hand with these teams to make sure the proper vision of these series are conveyed. So ultimately it comes down to if you trust Nintendo. And I'm sure some people will still not trust Nintendo. But I'll point something out. There have been pitches and ideas for movies and TV series for different Nintendo IP in the past. There have been several pitches for a Metroid movie. There was that Netflix Zelda that was supposed to happen that Nintendo pulled out from. The reason these projects weren't ultimately greenlit is because Nintendo did not have faith in these projects. The fact that Nintendo has announced this Zelda movie, especially Miyamoto already mentioning that they've been working on this for years already, well, it's still some time to go, so don't expect this movie very soon. But the point here is that they're announcing this now because they have faith that it will do well. Nintendo is cautious about their IP. They're not just going to do something that they don't think will represent the series well. So whatever is Nintendo's intent for this movie, they will convey it well. They will spend years on this project perfecting and making sure it's done right. And this brings me back to the point about it being live action. I think if Nintendo wanted to play it safe and do something that would have been fun, would have worked, they would have gone with a studio to make another animated film. But they're going in live action, which I think raises the expectation here, which makes it more comparable to something like Lord of the Rings. I think this is a strong sign of how much faith they have in this project and with what they want to do with it. I will point out there have been Zelda games that have been marketed similar to some of these movies. like Ocarina of Time being marketed similar to Conan the Barbarian, or Twilight Princess being largely inspired by the Lord of the Rings series, which is coming out during the development of that game. I think we're in for something extremely special here, and I think Nintendo probably is going to hit it out of the park. If not for critics, at least for the Zelda fanbase, and it will function as a way to bring in a larger audience. So it's going to be fun, it's going to be enjoyable, and I'm personally very excited for what's to come. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. This is Andres Restart, thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.